This is actually pretty fucking interesting. We have two terrible people. We know how bad Andrew Tate is, but nobody talks about how bad Patrick Bet David is. He runs a cult. This is the name, and this is the name of the cult, so people do not fall victim to it. This is the cult that Patrick Bet David runs. He targets a minority woman, literally a minority woman in the first picture, specifically single moms if they could find them. Takes all their money. 42% Hispanic Latino, 32% Black people, 11% other, no 90% no prior industry experience, meaning they're just getting anybody. They're just grabbing anybody. This is not the stats that I was told. I was told it was 70% female and 20% male. Ayo, it's me, Kiwi. Do not get me confused with Kiwis because I do not like to send pictures of my wee wee to minors to see their TTs. The Z is after the T, not after the I, and I am about to react to a cult leader interviewing a fucking sex trafficker. Andrew Tate has came on Patrick Bet David's podcast to kind of try to save himself even more about his BBC interview, which was trash. And he's just a melting pot right now. Tate is a melting pot, and he is pulling on any strings that he can to just pull himself back up, and it's not working. So he got on this podcast with Iranian multimillionaire or billionaire, whichever he chooses to self-proclaim, Patrick Bet David, who is he's a cult leader. So he runs a cult. He runs a cult called PHP Agency.
Right, and he goes up, and the guy opens up the question with, "Why'd you agree to do this interview?" He says, "Well, I don't know. What's the name of the BBC?" And he's trying to mock them and all this stuff. And there's a part of it where, he calls them out for the mistakes they made. Yeah. And if you go to the bottom of the interview on BBC, you'll see comment section saying, "Why'd you cut that out?" Because Musk puts it on Twitter, but they didn't put it in the interview. Yeah. Then you watch the interview with you. The first question they ask you was, what's the first question? Hey, you've been accused of
serious crimes,
rape or something like that. Right off the bat, they ask that question of you. And then you see the interview, Lucy Williamson, I believe, her first question was, "You're facing some very serious allegations. Have you raped anybody?" That's the open question that they ask you. And the video they put up, the first one, they take it down. The second video they put up, that's 12 minutes, like the highlight one, they turn, the comment section is open. There's 80,000 plus comments there. Then you look at Philip Schofield. And you just brought up Philip Schofield. For people that don't know who Philip Schofield, do you mind explaining to people who he is?
Yeah, he was.
Ooh, konnichiwa. How you doing?
Show, and he was grooming children for a very long time.
I do want to go to Kyoto one day.
And now he's come out saying, "Oh, please don't pick on me. I feel sad." And the media is saying, "Oh, leave the guy alone."
He is, when you go look up his Wikipedia, it says he rose to prominence as children's BBC continuity presenter from 85 to 87. Yep. Then went on to do programs on BBC and ITV for Going Live, This Morning, Dancing on Ice, All-Star Mr. and Mrs., The Cube, and a bunch of other things. And they interview him, okay? While he's going through the mess, after 27 years of being married, this one guy that he groomed since 10 years old, his name is McGreevy, I want to say, something McGreevy, that he's going through the process. Matthew McGreevy, they met at 10 years old at a theater group. At 15 years old, Philip follows him on Twitter. While the kid is 15, he follows him on Twitter. The guy celebrates it. Long story short, Ruth Langsford, they work together with. She files a complaint. Then right after filing the complaint, McGreevy gets fired. Then he has to take a break. Then he comes out after 27 years telling his wife, and hey, I'm gay, I'm coming out of the closet. He's got 2 daughters. But there's a part of it where Matthew calls his wife and says, "Hey, your husband and I had an affair together. When I was 19 the first time and 20 and all." No.
An affair. You can't be a multimillionaire and you can't even say no. Actually, he likes to talk about his wife so much he doesn't even know the word affair. That's not even in his vocabulary. That's why he can't say it right. Duh. He loved his wife that much, he doesn't even know the word affair. That's how loyal this man is.
Nobody knows if it was before or not. The interesting thing about him is his brother, Timothy Schofield, I don't know if you know about his brother,
Oh, what, the one who's in jail for being a pedophile?
was convicted of 11 sexual offenses involving a child between October 2016 and 2019, including 2 sexual activity.
Are they targeting like BBC members? Are they just like so butthurt about the interview? Is it just targeting like BBC members? I think so. Kind of cringe. I mean, just take the L, Tate. You're a nobody. You sunsetted already. I can't believe I used to watch your TikToks and got motivated by them.
With a child. Here's how the interview started. First question, the guy asked him. He says, "You've had quite a week. How are you?" Opening question. Versus the question they ask you on the opening, right? And then he turns around and says, "The media's interest in the affair was motivated partly because of homophobia, alleging that an affair with a much
This
younger
dude
woman
cannot
would have not
talk.
generated such a scandal." So he gets protected.
Yep.
And he says, all those people who write those stuff, do they ever think that there's actually a person on the other end, right? This is proven. By the way, this is the part where even when somebody's watching you and saying, "Why are they taking him to court? Maybe he did something. Why are they taking Trump to court? Maybe he did something. Why are they taking this guy? He must have done something. There must have been something there," right? It's stuff like this BBC does. If BBC are watching this right now, I want to kind of remind you of your mission statement that you have on your website. We're going to put the link below to your mission statement. You can go find it. Here's what your mission statement is, BBC. This is why you've lost some credibility the last couple of years. To act in public interest, serving all audiences through the provision of impartial, keyword impartial, high quality and distinctive output and services which inform, educate, and entertain. You say you inform, educate, you entertain, yet you conceal, misinform, and your content's quite frankly boring. You're cherry picking on people that you're talking to. So
That's saying a lot coming from somebody who has boring content. I'm not going to lie. If you want to talk about good content, go follow and subscribe to It's Me Kiwi, where we do the best content. And that is It's Me Kiwi, not Kiwis. Don't get me confused with the pedophile that likes to send his wee-wee to minors to see TTs. The Z comes after the T, not the I. And we, and not me, no, I am reacting to this cringe guy.
a message like that gets the average person to say, everything with you is allegedly, everything he did is proven, his brother is proven, yet let's leave him alone. Poor guy, let's target him. This is where their argument has leaks in it. And somebody like you can tear it up.
Absolutely. Philip is part of the club, and I'm not. And this is the thing. I'm a mentally resilient person, right? 14 months they've attacked me.
Whoa! That is cringe. Mentally resilient? Does he not have his own channel? What was that video Hassan was reacting to? Andrew Tate response on BBC interview. I like how he's on a Law and Crime Network. Hilarious. Bro was breaking down in this video.
But I will no longer allow the Matrix propaganda machine to...
And I heard he was breaking down in the full interview too. I didn't watch the full interview, but I heard he was breaking down.
I'm not going to sit and complain about that because that's not how I operate as a man. 14 months they've complained about me. If you type Romania, human trafficking, you type in any of these things, my name comes up, my face, I'm a bad...
Let's find out. Let's find out. No. Your name does not in fact pop up when you search Romania. Oh, okay. He's not wrong about that. Okay. I guess Tate does have some credibility, but it's not like it's in like websites or anything. Like it's not news websites. You have to go to the news category. Maybe you shouldn't human traffic people.
Bad person. I've lost all my bank accounts. I've lost all my social media accounts. I've been vilified all across the matrix in every single possible way. They print my face every single day with something negative next to it daily. Nobody gives a shit about my mental health, right? Because I'm the enemy. And what's scary about this is Lucy Williamson herself, she was begging me for an interview. The BBC were begging me for an interview. I don't need any of these people. The only reason I even sat down with the BBC is because they were begging me. I can go and just say my own words and get plenty of views, right? But the whole time I was in jail, they're begging me for an interview. Can we speak to him on the phone? Maybe we can give an interview from jail. Can we have an interview? Please, 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 please. And I was saying, why do I want to talk to the BBC? And the BBC were saying, no, we don't want to do a hit piece. We want to come across, we want to be impartial.
This is what they're telling
This is what they're telling me. We want to be impartial. We believe there's a side of the story that hasn't been told. We're really interested in some of the, let's say, what's the word? I don't want to get this wrong. Inconsistencies in the Romanian justice system. We're very interested.
You don't want to get it wrong. It sounds like you're making it up. Then, just saying. If you were quoting them, you wouldn't have to find a word, right?
In his side of the story. There's been enough hit pieces. We want to tell the other side. We want to hear Andrew Tate's story. And I said no, on repeat. Then they sent me a list of questions. I didn't even ask for a list of questions. That's not who I am. I don't have to script. I never ask for a list of questions. They sent me a list of questions. Here's what we're going to ask. It's about his mental health. It's about the Romanian justice system. It's about the fact he hasn't been charged. His liberty's been deprived. All this stuff. And I thought, well, that's kind of interesting. Maybe it's a bit interesting. And the Matrix is obviously printing lies about me. And these are some interesting questions from the Matrix for the first time ever. Okay. They walk in here all smiles and happy, all smiley faces trying to take me off guard. I already had my list of questions, right? It's all going to be nice and easy. I sit down, and they instantly attack me. They put the cameras on first, and they attack me, expecting me to stutter and make a fool of myself. It's kind of like they tried to sucker punch me. I'm in the club, and they're my friends shaking my hand, and they tried to hit me and knock me out. And this is the thing that's so amazing about it. Yes, I destroyed the BBC. But of course I did, because I'm smarter than all of them. But why should I have to rely on my wit and intellect to destroy BBC with their research team and their plan, their deliberate plan?
Andrew Tate is not smart or intellectual. Just like how your clips could be, or just like how your videos could be clipped out of context to make you look bad. A lot of your videos could be clipped out of context to make you look smart, and that's what happened. And that's how you trick a lot of people. Your clips make you look smart for saying a couple vague and obvious things, whereas when they see you raw and uncut, you're a dumbass. I didn't realize that until I actually started looking at Andrew Tate raw and uncut off of his platforms and his perspectives. And I didn't realize how dumb he was.
To try and annihilate not only my credibility, but my life. They are trying to put me back in jail, these people. They're not dishonest. They're genuinely evil. And they don't give a shit. And so why should I even sit there and entertain them? I believe I could slip every single sucker punch they throw at me for the rest of human time. I could sit with any of these clowns. And no matter who they sit with their research team, whatever garbage they come up with, I'll make a fool of all of them. But why am I even entertaining them anymore? What's the point? That was the last chance I gave mainstream media. They lied for months to get that interview with me. Completely dishonest, head to toe. And like you said, they sit with Philip. You okay? Are you okay? We heard your mom's upset, that poor old lady. Maybe everyone should stop talking about it because his mom's upset. Let's not talk about it anymore because his mother's old. You're either part of the club or you're not. You have to sell your sanity nowadays. If you sell your sanity, you're afforded protections. That's the reality of it, because if you're a sane thinking person, you don't buy their bullshit. And that's what upsets them. They don't want anybody who thinks for themselves. They need you to they want you to believe exactly what's on the television screen. Believe in COVID. It's COVID now. It's COVID now. Oh, Putin's invaded Ukraine. Putin's cured COVID now. Now it's Ukraine. It's insane. Till the next thing comes. It's absolutely asinine.
Did any of the questions that they sent you ahead of time?
Zero.
By the way, we didn't. There was no.
No, that's not how
that
we
you
operate.
Asked us ahead of time
Of course not.
whatsoever. Did they ask you any of the questions they
Zero.
said they were going to ask you?
Zero. They start with
Welcome,
an attack and
chatter.
it became a battle instantly.
Did they ask you?
We're
at any
watching
point
cringe.
What jail was like?
Zero.
What your mental health was like?
Zero.
How? Like you completely missed the mark when everyone wants to know what was jail like.
Well,
But they don't even ask you that question.
But this is what's so interesting about it. These people are so detached from reality, because they are genuinely detached from reality. They think that finding a video I made 8 years ago, a 4-hour speech I made 8 years ago, and finding one line of it without context that can be misconstrued, they think that sitting down with me and saying that to me is an aha moment. Nobody cares. Because you're taken out of context, one. And I said you're taking things out of context. She goes, I'm not taking it out of context. I said, if you're presenting it without context, that's taking it out of context. That's what it is. You're lying by omission. I said that to her after the camera's off, and she looked at me because she didn't understand. When you omit details, when you refuse to put in all of the details, you can lie by including one detail which may happen to be true. You can tell the truth and miss all the details around the truth, and you are lying by omission. You're lying by omission. And you're sitting here saying, oh, you said this 8 years ago. Nobody cares. Because they know me, and they know I didn't mean it in that way, and they know it's taken out of context, and they know that it's an old video on the internet, and it's not even an aha moment they think it is. But they just want to sit with you for an hour, attack you and attack you and attack you, wait for you to make one mistake. If I would have stuttered or made a single mistake, that's the only 3 minutes they would have shown. That's all they want. They want that 1 hour, then they take the little bit. With me, they cut it down to 12 minutes, and they look terrible in all of it. But if I would have made a single mistake, it would have been the only bit they shown. That's all they care about. Fake news.
Did you tell them, did you say, I'm only
Sound
doing
like
this
Trump.
if I'm able to record as well?
I said
Because I
that.
know that's what happened with Trump as well a couple years ago. Okay, so they didn't know you were recording.
I didn't know I was recording until afterwards, and then I said, that was dishonest. I'm going to release the whole video.
You told them before you released it.
I told them.
There is no contract or agreement with BBC.
No.
Nothing was signed. It was just simply an interview. Okay. Because I think that was very important when you released it for people to see what fully was said versus, and by the way, you know the Philip Schofield interview that they put up, the 12-minute one that just came out? You know the comments are turned off.
Of course they are.
The comments are turned off. Yours are turned on. His is turned off.
Of course.
And who knows many reasons why they would do that. But going back to BBC. So, okay, they come, they want to ask the questions of you. For some of the people that maybe aren't following the story closely, but they know who you are. We're in the car, we're driving, and a lot of people are asking questions. We ask the drivers, like, hey, are you going to Tate's place? How do you know we're going to Tate's place? And he says, well, who's Tate? Oh, Andrew Tate. Oh, tell us about Andrew Tate. Well, this is, okay. What kind of a guy is he? He said, I actually really like him. I said, why do you think he's going through what he's going through right now? Oh, it's always because of money. Okay, so we're at a different restaurant. So tell us, why are you going through this? Why is he going? Everybody's saying a similar thing about this, right? But for those who don't know, there's 3 different camps.
Yeah.
The camp that already sees you guilty, it doesn't matter what they read. So for example, this story here, from BBC came out just last night, 10:30. Andrew Tate choked me until I passed that UK woman claims, right? This is Alice, another anonymous name, just like Sophie, right? Yeah. But there's 3 camps. There's those that say, well, look, I'm already thinking he's guilty. I don't like him anyways. I need anything to get me to think he's guilty. Yeah. Whatever it takes. I don't have to do my own due diligence. I just have to hear anything. Then there's the camp that's a diehard fan. There's nothing you can do that they did wrong. You can, in their eyes, it's going to be wrong.
What's up,
Then
Kit
you have
Chatter?
the people in the middle that are the reasonable ones, that are saying, you know what, let me look at this. Yeah. What about this? What about that? The people in the middle may say the following question. They may say, and I may have asked this question from you last time as well. They may say, Andrew, okay, if this guy is so innocent, how can they get you to go to the dungeon for 92 days? How can they put you on house arrest? How can they do all this stuff? Yeah. If you're somebody that was born in US, you lived in UK, how come somebody else isn't coming to bail you out? You got different lawyers. How is it that they can keep doing this to you if you're not guilty? What do you say to those people?
Yeah, and once again, I have to be careful what I say because of the court case, but Romania has a law, or the law in Romania is basically, if you can prove to a judge that it might have happened, they're allowed to hold you up to 6 months during the investigation stage. If I was guilty of anything, I would have been charged long ago. And we're going to talk about charges soon because I still believe they're going to attempt to charge me. But we're now approaching the end of the 6 months they can keep me under a form of arrest for without charge. Typically in Romania, when I was first arrested, the guard said, within 2 weeks, you'll have your indictment. I was like, 2 weeks? He goes, yeah, everyone gets charged quickly. Nobody waits 6 months for a charge. If they arrest you, they charge you, like every other country, right? The fact they've waited 6 months and gone into my entire life and attempted to find something shows they don't have a case. Why I believe it happened is because they didn't have a case when they were trying to hit me with this garbage, and they thought, you know what? If we put him all over the news, if we slander his name completely, there was a hotline set up. If you're a girl who's been hurt by Andrew Tate, call this number in the UK. A hotline. So they were attempting to use the media to find what they wanted. Months go by, months go by, months go by, case file's empty, nothing's happening. My lawyer's saying, when are we gonna close this case file? Like, yeah, we're just waiting for some papers, we're gonna close it, we're gonna close it, we're gonna close it. Around the time I was canceled, things started appearing in the case file again. They started spying on me again. Very interesting that it happened around that time. I don't know if they understood that I wasn't protected by the political class of the USA. I don't know what happened. They started to build this case, and they spied on me for all of these months, spending millions of euros, spying on me everywhere I went, trying to find evidence of a crime. Eventually, they get to the end of their legal limit to spy on me, and they don't have any crime. They don't have anything. So in my current court case, we have 2 Americans who lied, the ones who we have the conversations between them saying they're going to get an Oscar for lying to the police. We have the CCTV of them coming and going. We have their Uber records showing they can travel the country freely. We have their phone calls with their mother where they're saying, yeah, he didn't hurt me, and my boyfriend caught me. We have all of it. We have all the evidence. We have those 2, and then there's nobody else who could possibly even take the stand. I don't believe, as high level as this Matrix attack is, I still don't believe a Romanian judge is going to put me in jail with the dossiers. I've seen it. It's garbage. I don't think I'm going to end up in jail. But it's just taking years of my life, damaging my influence, having bad things to say about me, keeping me under control, keeping me locked in a house. That's all they want to do. They have no interest in the truth.
First of all, human trafficking is not the only bad thing there is to say about Andrew Tate. What about the thousands of incels he scammed with Hustlers University? And then also created a cult, because I saw that video where like he bring people to his house if they pay like $5,000. And that shit was just so culty. It was just a room full of sweaty incels. Just like, oh yeah, I will bleed and die for this man. Oh, he taught me so much. He is God. He teaches me everything I need to know. But they're still broke. And now they're $5,000 short. And didn't make a single penny back. Now, I'm not too educated on scams, but I am educated on cults and scams. But that sounds like a scam and a cult.
There's no victims. There's no one to take the stand.
So I need to change the title. 2 cult leaders have a conversation.
Do you know who Sophie is or Alice is or no?
Yeah, so the BBC,
Ali?
that's really interesting. So then the BBC says, well, we found victims, because the BBC have done enough investigative journalism to understand that the case is garbage and there's no victims. So they said, well, we found victims. They found one called Sophie first. That was a few months ago. I think I was still in jail when Sophie appeared.
Is that her real name?
No, that's her fake name. So they have a girl with a fake name called Sophie. They don't show her face. They ask me, what do you think about Sophie? How can I comment on Sophie when Sophie isn't real? Firstly, you've made her up. Secondly, I don't know who you're talking about. You're saying that 9 years ago, I was emotionally controlling? That is the most subjective garbage accusation. What does that mean? 9 years ago, I said you shouldn't party with those guys in the club. Is that what I said? I don't know what I said. I don't know who she is, if she exists at all. And they're saying 9 years ago, you were emotionally controlling. Sophie said so. Who's Sophie? We're not telling you. What's emotionally controlling mean? We're not telling you. What comment do you want me to? If this person even exists, which they don't, then I destroy the BBC, make it very clear to them that Sophie doesn't exist, on repeat, because she doesn't. And 2 days later, Alice appears. What's interesting about this is that DCOT, the federal agency inside of Romania, along with help from international partners, have tried so hard, spending millions of euros, with federal level tools to find a victim so they can put me in jail. And they can't find anyone. But the BBC just pulls them up whenever they want. The BBC does. Where do these people come from? And I say this every single time. If anybody believes they've been wronged, male or female, by me, go to the police. Go to the police. I encourage you to go to the police. All these people say, we don't want to go to the police. We just want to stay on the news. What, is that because you're not real? Is that why? That's pretty convenient. I mean, I thought I was a bad person. Why don't you go to the cops? Oh, because you have no evidence and it doesn't exist? That's why.
Are all these accusers in the UK, not even in Romania?
Not even in Romania. So Sophie and Alice are supposedly both from the UK. And Alice's story
To
is...
correct, it's not Alice. I said Alice, it's Evie. Evie or Evie or something like that. E-V-I-E.
It's all made up names. is
It's
your
all
point.
made up names.
Yes.
So Evie...
We could call whatever name we want, but
Yeah, Evie is saying 13 years ago I choked her or something.
Yeah. By the way, when is the 6-month time limit?
End of this
Okay. And can we reference the tweet you just posted a couple days ago?
I want to stay on this. She
Sure.
was commenting on Evie. You were going to say something about Evie.
No, what's the tweet?
What she said.
Let's hear the
So
tweet.
She's claiming
What's the tweet?
10 years ago or
I'm
13
curious.
years ago, you guys had the consensual sex the first time. She comes back for the second time around. According to the story, she says she was being, your hand was on her throat, strangled me. She was passed out for a minute. And then she came back and she said, I did not approve of the second time having sex after she was passed out. So these stories they're making, and then she says, the guy asked a question saying, how come you didn't do any police report back then? She says, well, because it's not fully rape and it's not that, because it was consensual and I kind of wanted to be there and I didn't tell anybody about it 6 years later. There's way too many things that doesn't give it credibility for somebody to say, I didn't do anything about it then, but 6 years later I told my friends, 3 or 6 years later.
Yeah. And this is the thing that's scary. If you say to any red-blooded male, 13 years ago you had sex with a woman consensually and she's now unhappy about how that sex happened, you can get, any man on earth can get screwed with that. If this person exists at all. And like you said, she refused to go to the police if she exists. And she's saying it was consensual. I think last night they aired it on Newsnight and they said, why are you coming forward now? And I think this actor, the person literally said, because now he's rich and famous. They literally said those words. That's what they said. Oh, because now he's rich and famous, I think it's unfair that... It's asinine. I don't understand genuinely how a man can protect himself in the Western world anymore. How can you even exist anymore? If this is what they're going to hit you with as soon as you get to a certain level of influence, there's no man on earth who's safe from this. I said this to my judges. I had a few male judges. I said, they could do this to you. They could do this to anyone. They could do it to you or me or any man watching this. Any man watching this.
Look, I really, 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 really do not want to defend Andrew Tate by any means. But that is a somewhat common thing. For example, a similar situation happened to Kai Cenat recently. It wasn't much. It wasn't much as Kai himself, but it was one of his homies, where a girl had consensual sex with Kai's friend, and then later said it was rape. And I mean, Kai is rich and famous. I'm not saying Tate did not rape anybody. I'm sure he raped a few women back in his days and currently. But it is a thing women do. They do like to just cry rape when there's a chance of getting money from somebody rich and famous. Now, I'm not defending Tate. I'm sure he raped a bunch of people. I'm sure he did. But that is a easy defense to go to because, I mean, it does happen. It happened to Kai like 8 months ago, 6 months ago. Just saying. And I think months later, maybe weeks later, it got debunked because there was a video of the sex, and it looked pretty consensual. She knew he was recording, I'm pretty sure. But at the same time, I mean, if you're super drunk and you're fucking somebody, I think you could still call non-consensual sex because you are under the influence. So that is still another argument as well.
They can put in the BBC 9 years ago you did something. They won't tell you her name. They won't give you any chance to defend yourself because you have no idea what they're fucking talking about. And they will print it on repeat until you lose your job and lose your bank and lose your social media. And then you're going to sit there bankrupt and depressed. And then they're just going to move on from you. And if you don't die, if you're like me, a cockroach who refuses to die, if you sit around and refuse...
He is right. He is a cockroach. He is, in fact, a roach. He did not lie. He did not lie. Andrew Tate is, in fact, a roach, and he said it himself. He knows he's a roach. He knows he is a cockroach. He said it himself. I didn't say it. Tate called himself a cockroach. At least he knows. Self-awareness is key. Being self-aware enough to know that you are a little cockroach, that takes a lot of confidence. That takes a lot of courage.
...to go away, they're going to make up a new one. It's crazy.
Excuse me.
And it's genuinely scary. And you're not safe from it anywhere anymore. I will say right now on this podcast, I encourage absolutely anybody who believes I've harmed them, male or female, to go to the police with evidence, and we'll go to court. Let's do it. I don't harm people. If I was harming people, I wouldn't be out here as open as I was. The biggest criminals and the biggest gangsters and the most heinous people on earth don't have social media. You know this. If I see a guy with an...
I think I commented, I think I saw a clip of that yesterday. Actually, I think I saw a clip of that yesterday. And I said that's very, very false. That's very false. There are a lot of thugs, gangsters, gangbangers, whatever you would like to call them, with social medias. PNB got hit from social media. We just covered a story 2 days ago where sexually aroused voluntary police violators who get into cop chases to sexually arouse themselves and because their car is fast. It was a side story about a group of men who robbed and shot a woman. I believe her name was Dakota Early. And moments later, they got on Instagram Live and they recorded them driving away from the cops with guns in hand and ski masks. So, yeah, that's gangsters and thugs, whatever you would like to call them. They use social media a lot. And, I mean, he's from a different generation of Chicago, but yeah, all the gangbangers, thugs, that I was around as a teenager, they use Instagram, they use Snapchat, they use Facebook, they do use social media. That is a very wrong statement, and this is personal experience and obvious news where PNB clearly got robbed and killed from his girl posting a Instagram story. A lot of thugs like to use social media, especially in well-populated area with where celebrities live, like LA, to stalk their pages and rob and kill those celebrities when they find out where they're located. I think the same thing happened with XXXTentacion when I think he may have posted a story. Yeah, he posted a story about him getting ready to buy his motorcycle, and they found out like what shop it was, stuff like that. And then they pulled up on him, and then they robbed and killed him. So yeah, thugs and gangsters and gangbangers, whatever you like to call them in your generation, they do in fact use social media. That is a fact.
Instagram pretending he's a gangster. He's not a gangster. The real gangster hasn't got Instagram. That's the reality of it. You think I'm going to become the most Google man in the world if I've been running around hurting people? It's absolutely insane. And
Those are two completely different things. Being a content creator is not the same thing as using social media. The ratio is like 1 to 1,000. 1 being content creators, 1,000 being the people who use social media. Just because you use social media does not mean you are a content creator. You are the most Google search man because you are a content creator who used a lot of bot accounts to repost your shorts and multi-level marketing, more like it. You had people repost your stuff and make fake accounts, and you create content, and that is how you became the most Google search, the most searched man on Google. A thug, gangster, whatever you like to call them, do not create content and pay a bunch of people to repost their content in order to become the most searched man on Google. Those are two different things. Using social media and then using social media for content creation. Thugs, gangsters, whatever you want to call them, they still use social media. That's why you see a bunch of dumbasses posting stories, waving their guns around, and etc. They're not doing that to become the most searched man on Google and make money. I don't think they're smart enough to even think of something like that. But they're still using it because that's their small sense of pride to show that, hey, I'm tough, I'm a big man, I carry a gun, I probably can't fist fight, but I do have a gun, and I'm going to post it on Instagram and blah, blah, blah. And even if, and yes, a lot of them are fake gangsters and thugs. I will admit to that. But that doesn't dismiss the facts that the real thugs and gangsters do that.
there has been a shift in the consciousness. I think, especially because of COVID and a few other things, people are starting to understand that all these people do is lie. I think people are starting to understand that. And the harder they try and hurt me with these lies, the less people believe it, which is scary for me. Like I said earlier, it's scary. They keep coming up with more garbage. The bullets keep bouncing off. So now they're sitting around going, we can't convince the world this person is a bad person. How do we get rid of him? That's the scary part.
Connect is an application which allows you to take a minute to connect with influencers from all around the world. My name is Andrew Tate, and I'm available to speak directly to you on Connect.
So if you like this clip and you want to watch another one, click right here. And if you want to watch the
Using the
entire
most hated
podcast,
man.
click right here.
This is the entire 4-hour interview.
Before you watch this exclusive interview with Andrew Tate, there are a few things you need to know. Andrew is taking a massive risk agreeing to do this 5-hour and 20-minute interview because he is still...
It's 4 hours and 36 minutes, meaning they cut some stuff. They did it just like BBC. Just like BBC. He said it was 5 hours, and I didn't even have my headphones on, and I still heard it.
Massive risk agreeing to do this 5-hour and 20-minute interview.
5 hours and 20 minutes. That was a very specific time. 5 hours and 20 minutes means an entire, 50 minutes of the interview was cut. 45 minutes to 50 minutes of the interview has been cut from this video. So what were they talking about for those 45 to 50 minutes? He just lied. He is the BBC. He just lied right there. That is a blatant lie. So you cut almost an hour of footage of conversation that we would never be able to hear. So what did you cut? Let us know. What did y'all talk about that couldn't make the full interview? Obviously, I'm not going to watch the whole 4 hour and 36 minutes of it because that is super cringe.